Come on.
Big energy, big energy.
All right.
That's it. Now we're on. Now we're live. It's actually, we're not live at all. That's the beauty of it. It's all recorded. It's all fake. It's Trevor, Franchise or Bust. We got Katie in the house again. And then today we're super excited to have someone who's been in the franchise space since 2003. A lot of success across multiple different brands. He's got a brand new brand, a new venture that he's getting into that we're definitely going to want to talk about and understand. Why? Why is he getting back into this? And why would you? Why leave the life of luxury and retirement to get into this new brand? But we'll understand a little more about that. It's Jon Brovitz. What's up, man?
Not too much, man. Just taking it easy. I'm starting to look for space for this new concept, and life is pretty good.
Fantastic. So we're definitely going to get into all of that, and just a slight background. Like I said, Jon's been in the franchise space as a operator, multi-unit owner since the early 2000s. Kind of got in the start of Massage Envy, had that ride for a long time. Was a part of a couple other brands beyond that as well. And I think what we want to understand, we want to start to learn, from Jon today. Besides why he's copying my look, that's a given. Obviously, I'm handsome. He saw me one day and said, "Hey, I gotta make this happen."
I think I was bald first.
Well,
I think I beat you to it.
Yeah, that's true.
You caught up a lot, so yeah.
I did.
Congratulations.
I did. It was a precipitous downfall during this last year or so.
Yeah,
I had to make it happen.
It's not a race; it's a marathon.
Fair enough. So we're going to be able to really understand, kind of think from both sides, which is going to be really cool. What is appealing about being in the franchise space, both as a kind of a multi-unit operator, what that means, the successes you can have, and also what's attractive, at the franchisor level. What are you looking for? What's going to make one successful? What from your perspective, obviously you've had a lot of experience in the space. What do you look for in a franchisor when you start to evaluate, okay, this brand is likely to succeed. This is a brand where I know I can succeed in it. So maybe start there a little bit and give us some examples of kind of what you look for in a brand that makes you think this is going to work.
I mean, I think the first thing that I look at is the concept. Obviously, I mean, you want to make sure that this is marketable and it's got a wide enough audience to be successful. And it really depends on where the franchisor is in their development. When we joined Massage Envy, there was only like 3 stores or so. So it was very, we took a big risk by getting in that early, but obviously it paid off and it was a great reward. I'd say that, a lot of what convinced me and convinced my wife about Massage Envy was the people. And early on, the founder was great, and I liked working with their management team, and they were really flexible. So we did a lot of things that was doing it for the first time. I mean, when we were the first ones to use the point of sale system, and we helped develop a lot of the procedures that are used now. So I guess what I look for is just really good founders. If you're at that point, it's much more difficult when you're in a later stage and they've been, sold to private equity, and then they're, go in and they try to, create this. It's a little bit more us versus them at that point. Whereas I think, with this new concept that we bought into, Scissors and Scotch, really like the founding team, a young group of guys that, had their first location, did really well with it, and then chose the franchise model. And they're really concerned on how well the franchisee is doing. So they put the franchisee first. They realize that that's their customer, and you can really tell. Then the other thing about it is they really mapped this thing out and curated every detail. When I first met with him, and over the course of the last year and a half, whenever I ask a lot of questions, but whenever I ask those questions, they always have great answers. I mean, they've already thought of all these things that I'll bring up, and so they really have their stuff together, which is
Yeah, it sounds then that's something that's super relevant inside the franchisor space is similar to a lot of businesses, and that is the culture. You're kind of describing essentially that you're looking for some founders and some owners that have really kind of developed that great culture, that you're essentially buying into that. Like you're buying that culture so you can propagate it, and you bring your own spin to it, obviously, but you're looking for something that you can kind of latch on to, believe in, and propagate down.
Yeah. And you also want to look at the network of who they brought on so far, how selective they are with their franchisees, because that makes a big difference. You certainly want to join a business where they've chosen A players, and they really, you can learn from other people in the network. And I think they've been very selective with their group. There's a couple guys I know a couple people from other concepts that are great operators, that they're really selective in choosing them. So it's good to be a part of that kind of brand.
Yeah, they you never want to go up to the people in the bar that are hanging out with a bunch of losers. You know what I mean? Like you want to see the people over there, like those guys look cool and they're hanging out. They got all the foxy ladies, right. They got all the cool people around them, and you're like, I want to be with them.
Yeah, it always, with you, I guess it always comes back to the bar, right?
Clearly,
your analogy
I don't need to lose weight, so
right.
there's no break in my game.
Right. No, I got it. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. So yeah, and that it makes a lot of sense. And I think like I say, you're really looking at who are they surrounding themselves with, how are they building, kind of building their culture, because you have to like them. You have to kind of like. It's not that the other franchisees are your coworkers per se. It's not really that type of thing, but they're almost kind of like your co-conspirators in a lot of way. Like you're sort of looking for how to build this thing, and they may have great ideas, and you may be able to learn something from them. They learn something from you, et cetera. That's really cool. What do you think about the emerging? So it sounds to me then like your part of your advice and part of your kind of thought process in the space would be that the emerging franchisor and the emerging franchise space is where you would put your most of your attention, as opposed to the more established.
Yeah, I mean, I like to go in early on. I just feel like you have more chances to really develop your own territory. You'll get the best territories. You'll also be able to be influential in the direction of the brand. So I tend to when I'm looking at a business, tend to gravitate towards the beginning stages where they've shown success. They're in a couple states. They've developed everything. They've developed the systems, but there is room to really grow this.
Is that important from a so let's say I'm the franchisor and I'm looking to get a great operator like yourself, who wants to do multi-unit. Basically, you are exactly what a franchisor wants. Someone who's got experience, somebody who knows multi-unit, can do all those things, has a proven track record, and you're trying to attract them. It's not necessarily that they have to be small, but it sounds like what you're really saying is they've got to be flexible and kind of franchisee oriented in their approach.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, they've had a lot of, we bought the Arizona territory, and I know that, talking to them, they've had a lot of interest in Arizona for a while. But they've really kind of wanted us to develop it. And so, again, they're looking for good operators that have done it before. And I think that's really important for franchisors to consider is when they're talking about giving a territory away or a few units of a free pack or whatever it is, they really look at the operators, because I think a lot of times they'll bring on someone that's never owned a business or never really had a lot of business experience, and that can backfire. That just sets them back years. So,
what about first of all, before we get into all that, it sounds to me then that you're pretty confident this is going to be a successful franchise and not a bust.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's spin the wheel to find out. Maybe it's the wheel of destiny. Maybe. Boy, looks like we landed on bust.
Okay.
We're gonna have to.
Let's
have a
scissors
drink
and scotch it.
Yeah, scissor me timbers. This is yep.
The wheel is always right, huh?
We're gonna. Well, no. We have a drink and we forget about that. With the wheel is out of our minds from now on. Now we move forward.
I noticed on that wheel that it's all bust. There's no winning on the wheel.
That doesn't seem right to me, Katie. I don't know.
It's equal.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. I just saw a lot of bust.
Well, maybe we'll see it again as we move forward.
Okay.
Okay, so actually, really good things that we're covering and serious things. I think is really interesting about what it means to be kind of franchisee oriented, making sure that the founder, kind of the leadership team, have a good grasp of who they surround themselves with, what kind of franchisees surround themselves with, all those things that are going to make push them forward to succeed, because it can be really difficult. A lot of franchise brands get stuck right around the 100 locations or 150 locations. They don't really have that plan to scale up. What do you see maybe in your current venture that makes you think, hey, we're going to make it? And then what have you seen maybe in the past with one of the brands maybe you were involved with? We don't have to name their name, but that kind of got stuck there, that maybe the reason why they some brands kind of get stuck in that no man's zone of 100 to 200 locations and never really get beyond it.
Well, I think one of the things that I've experienced in previous franchises is regarding the technology. If you don't have good technology, that can really, really hurt you in a lot of ways. And I think it starts with the point of sale system. And from former experience, I come from a tech background, so I look at companies that are technology forward, that lead with technology. And it really is so important these days that you have a really good app and that you have online booking, you have all those things well thought out of, so they have a good user experience and you can streamline operations. So what I really like about Scissors and Scotch is they really have spent a lot of time on technology. They've invested a lot of money in technology. I don't know if you've probably experienced it from using their services, but they really have a good front end, and then they also have a good back end as well for the franchisees. So what I like is that you have a lot of good metrics on everything that you can see into the business, and that with Massage Envy, I felt like technology wasn't there, and that was one of the weaknesses we had. It took us a long time to get online booking, to just get an app that was really easy to use and gave a great customer experience.
That's huge, because ultimately, while there's challenges in the space of any type of elective franchise brand, which is kind of what you're going into, service-based, elective, you're going to have to staff, and that can be a challenge. But you have to worry about your customers too. Both are a problem. And I love the Scissors and Scotch kind of overall experience. I use it. I think the way that they give you a text message reminder, they make sure it's super easy to book online. They give you exactly what service you want to book online. You hit it right for it. Super simple, super easy. And like you said, the tech side really is more in tune with just, you got to stay modern. You know, if you're not staying modern, not staying current, how are you going to grow? How can you scale?
Right. And I think, when you get to that 100 or 200 units and you kind of, stagnate, you got to keep moving forward, and technology is a big part of it. So you have to keep investing in technology and getting the latest thing. And also investing in your franchisees. Obviously, if the franchisees are doing well, they're going to open more units. So you really have to focus from a franchisor side on unit level profitability. That should be the most important metric to any franchisor. Because if your franchisees, aren't making money, you're going to have a really upset network, and you're going to have problems on your hand. And so that is, if there's one piece of advice to give to franchisors, I would say unit level profitability should be the most important thing within the network. And then making sure that if the franchisees are making money, they will expand, they will continue to expand. And you have to kind of avoid, as in a situation where a lot of the moves we were making were defensive because they really wanted to sell out the territory and they wanted to fill the white space, as they call it. And that can backfire as well. So.
It's interesting. You mentioned profitability. A lot of times the franchisor will, and sometimes the franchisees that are cross communicating will give the, a prospective franchisee or a prospective, multi-unit owner or whatever it may be, kind of the expectations. Hey, this is what a good operator can do. This is what that looks like. But talk about what it means then to actually go and execute. And if you've seen scenarios where what the franchisor said is really not even achievable necessarily by let's call it like a medium level operator, but they're maybe giving out that, hey, this is what, the best operator in the world could accomplish, but they're kind of putting that out there. What does it look like from just an execution standpoint to make sure that, like you say, you don't get disgruntled with what should be happening, the profitability should be happening? What do you have to do to kind of make that happen or see those achievement levels?
I mean, in the end, it's your business. You are responsible for it. So, from everything, if you're not choosing the right location and you're not managing the people and you haven't hired well, I mean, all those things are going to factor into your success. So I think the reason you want people with business experience or that have gone, have studied business, is because they can look at all those factors when they're making decisions. And from the first point, we start with we'll start with the area that we want to be in, the demographics, the location, everything like that. We put a lot of time into that. We're when we plan it out, we are considering all the factors, and we want to take our time making that decision, because the location can kill you. You can either you can make the difference. I think it's success is probably 50% dependent on the location and then 50% on the management. So if you don't choose that right location, you can really hurt yourself. And a lot of the mistakes that some franchisees make is they're trying to save on rent. They're trying to really cut costs, and they want to do bare bones, and they'll choose a center that they really shouldn't be in. So I think, and looking at and spending time on the important things like location, and then spending time on the hiring, making sure you get the right, management team, make sure you get the right employees, and set that culture.
So you mentioned rent, not wanting to skimp on that, and kind of making because location is so important. what would you say are like maybe your top 3 things that you don't want to penny pinch on when because, obviously there's some things you want to say, hey, I want to get the best value for this, or maybe this isn't as so important. So besides your fashion, which I know is a big priority for you, what besides that, or would you say are kind of like top maybe 3 things where like, hey, don't skimp on these things, like put the money out, put it out there first thing, because this is going to set you up for success?
Well, obviously location. And then I'd say, I wouldn't nickel and dime with your management, with your managers. Make sure that you're providing a good environment, you're providing a lot of good benefits, but you're also not, trying to pay them less than what they're worth. So I'd say invest in the management, invest in training, and then marketing, spending enough on advertising to make your business successful. A lot of times people will skimp on the advertising. They'll try to nickel and dime the employees. All those things are important factors to make sure that you're providing a good workplace and that you're providing enough customers for your employees. So,
how are you going to navigate the waters in this new venture that I go to a lot, and we're definitely talking about it a lot today because it's really amazing. You're getting involved in it with Scissors Scotch, a fantastic emerging brand. How are you going to navigate the waters of making sure that your bar is stocked with the best things in the area, so that not only are the guys running to get their haircuts there, but also they stay and they're like, I don't want to leave. This place is incredible.
Right. So I am not really a Scotch drinker or a bourbon drinker, but I'm going to learn. And it seems like they have those bases covered because they have really good Scotches, they have really good bourbons. I'm going to really work on the wine list because I like wine and I like vodka. I'm going to make sure we have lots of Tito's, lots of really good vodkas, but also we have to have a good wine list.
I think that's smart. Something to think about is you could have some maybe guys want to come in there with their wives, and it gives them something to hang out and do for a little bit. Have a glass of wine while I'm getting my haircut, or hey, let's go here for a little bit.
Well, we'd like to use the space for parties and have wine tastings and have bourbon tastings and all of that, and have wedding parties come in. But I think we'll have a lot of events where there is an expert in Scotch or bourbon and or sommelier for wine, and we make it open to everyone. Absolutely.
Now, one question I have about that, I've been thinking about, is I wonder what's going to happen if you have too much booze around all those scissors. Are we going to succeed, or are we going to bust? I don't know.
Let's find out.
Let's consult the wheel to see. Oh boy. I guess we're gonna.
Bust.
Well, I guess we're gonna bust. I don't know.
That wheel is very fishy.
It does seem like that wheel's a little biased.
The wheel is a little biased.
Yeah, maybe something's going on with that.
I don't know. Maybe.
I can't tell. Anyways, all right. Yeah. So, we're covering a lot of really cool stuff. I think awesome points about, and something that anyone who's getting into the space, whether it be, for the first time or they have experience, or at the franchisor level, just understanding, make sure you're investing in technology, make sure location is super important. Don't skimp on management. Don't skimp on marketing. You're essentially just, you're divulging kind of a playbook of this is how you make it work. This is how you succeed when you open up a franchise, because, a lot of it is kind of they're giving it to you and saying, just don't screw it up. Right. And it's kind of like, okay, the concept's there. This is all a thing. I know it can work, but there's certain things we have to do to make it work. And you're illuminating a lot of that for us, which is awesome. If you had to kind of think and, go down the path, I guess, a little bit, of what it looks like in terms of franchisor involvement. There's a lot of schools of thought on that I've seen in the lots of brands that I've worked with, in terms of like some of them have, dedicated reps to certain areas of the country, and they go out and they, get in the field with you and they get engaged with the franchisee. Some of them don't have that. Some of them have kind of robust marketing departments where they're like, we do it all. We handle the marketing. Don't worry about it. And some of them don't. What mixture have you seen to really be of the best support to the franchisees?
Well, start with experts in their field. And then I'd also start with employees that have actually worked within a shop. Because having firsthand experience of running a shop, I think adds way more credibility than someone that was just hired and is, giving you advice on how to run the store. So I'd say, having a good marketing person that you can bounce ideas off and they're flexible in their approach is great. Having a corporate trainer that has worked in the location or worked in other locations before and has a lot of experience with training and that kind of background, they can be really, really helpful in my experience. Someone in customer service that obviously, again, people that have experience running the store. So what I like about this new concept is the founders, all of them worked in the store. They all ran this business. They were very successful in it. They worked out the kinks. So I'm going to go to them for advice. They have done this before. They know what works. They know what doesn't work. They'll save you a lot of time. And that's why you buy into a franchise. You want to buy that experience. You want to buy that network effect, of all the people that have done it, before you. And you're buying systems. And then it's up to you. It's really up to how much you're going to put into it and develop your business, because they're handing you the keys, and then you really have to perform at that point.
Well, I think it's definitely a huge testament to, you've been speaking with us and you're being very, kind of detailing and explaining what makes successful, what doesn't. You have a good understanding of it. So it speaks volumes to the brand that you're getting engaged with now with Scissors and Scotch, and, the setup for success that there is there. And I, frankly, just for me, kind of knowing you personally, pulling you out of retirement to go get involved in something else and kind of start all over again and do this whole thing all over again. It speaks a lot to them. So what a really cool brand, man. Anything else you want to say about that, or just kind of promo that a little bit, or just talk about the brand? This is a good opportunity for it.
There are other concepts. It is somewhat of a crowded field at this point. There are a lot of barbershops out there. But what I like about this concept is the team, and I like the approach, and it's also it has a different feel than some of the other ones out there. I've experienced firsthand some of these services that other competitors, and what I like about the Scissors and Scotch approach is, they have the full bar, they have the full experience. They stock the bar with great liquors and wines. They just think about every little detail, which I like, and you can tell when you go into one that it just has a certain feel to it and a good experience. So that's that. I think in the end, that's really what's going to make it successful versus all the competitors.
Awesome. And so if I'm in the greater Phoenix area, when can I expect to see the first Jon and Bonnie Brovitz owned Scissors and Scotch location open up?
So we're looking at quite a few areas for our first location. And I think we're still sending out LOIs. So process that's probably going to take 3 months. I'd expect for us to be open somewhere around the March, April timeframe for our first location. And then, get that one up and running and then work on the second one.
Love it. Well, listen, you're out in the Phoenix area. Gets to be April, May. You got to get that wig snipped because it's getting hot. You know what I mean? You want to get out there. We're not, we're not playing around trying to go out there looking like one of the Jonas Brothers. You got to get trim or you're going to be sweating.
That's true. Coming from two guys with a lot of hair.
Yeah.
Listen, we're cool as a cucumber, baby,
Yeah.
at all time.
Absolutely.
At all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jon, man, it's been awesome. Appreciate you. I think lots of great insights, both from the what matters to a franchisee, the things to look for in a franchisor, what's important to spend your money on, et cetera. We covered a lot of those things, a lot of those topics. That's genuinely helpful for anyone who's looking to get engaged at the in a franchise, or anyone even at a franchisor level, to kind of understand that perspective. What matters, what's going to make it successful? Because, like I said, if the franchisees aren't making money, you're going to bust. It's not going to be a franchisor. It's going to be a bust. That's right. That's right. All right, dude. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
That wraps it up for FranchisORBust. Katie, expert commentary. We appreciate it. And excellent wheel spinning. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode where we're going to have Denzel Washington on, actually talking about. Yeah, can you believe that?
Good company.
It's an exclusive. I mean, nobody. I can't believe I dropped that as a teaser.
I didn't even know it was in franchising.
Well, it's not. I'm not at liberty to say what franchise he's a part of, but it's.
I think you should introduce Shaq. He's got a lot of.
Yeah, with the Shaq-a-roni.
Yeah,
I know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we reached out to Shaq's people, but they big timed us. They sent me a few sorry pizzas. And,
but Denzel was available.
Oh, Denzel jumped right on.
Yeah.
I said who I was,
right.
and he was right on board.
Yeah. What?
He's like, FranchisORBust.
FranchisORBust. I'm in. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
I said it's going to be a training day for me and you talking about podcasting. He loved it. All right, guys. Till the next episode. Jon, thank you.
Thank you.
Come on.